Alright, so today we're going to compare the original ZiiGaat Odyssey with the new ZiiGaat Odyssey 2, which is tuned by an unnamed person at the Hangout. Seriously, I don't know who tuned this thing. I'm going to skip the accessories and get straight into the build here. So one of the things they did to upgrade the Odyssey 2 was give it a full metal shell instead of the resin that the Odyssey 1 had. I think this is a really nice touch and makes it feel definitely more premium. Unfortunately, however, I found that this metal shell didn't fit me quite as well because, as you can see from the angle of the nozzle here, the Odyssey 1 has a bit of a different angle to the nozzle and it's a bit longer. It goes a bit deeper in my ear compared to the Odyssey 2, which is a little bit more stubbier. What that means then is that when I put it in my ear, it sits a bit closer towards my ear and kind of presses it up a little bit more compared to the Odyssey 1, which fits just a little bit more on the outside. It's not a big deal, but it's something to note if you prefer deep-fitting IEMs like I do. Sound-wise, let's take a quick look at the graph here. In orange, we have the original Odyssey, and the blue is the Odyssey 2. They're quite similar, both with that new meta-style tuning. The biggest thing to note here is that the Odyssey is a little more V-shaped compared to the Odyssey 2. There's more bit-based presence and a little more treble brilliance. This is a noticeable but not a night and day difference. In the mid-range, there's a tiny bit more of that upper mid pinna gain, but both of these IEMs still lean towards the warmer side of things. So practically speaking, what does this mean? Well, I find that the Odyssey 2 is a little bit more even and balanced in the mid-range. It sounds a bit cleaner because it's more sub-bass focused rather than having that mid-bass bump. It also makes the upper mid stand out a little bit more for the vocals. However, I do like how the Odyssey 1 has more bass impact. Drum notes are more satisfying when they land. The treble of the Odyssey 1 is also a little bit more better for me. The Odyssey 2's treble can be overly polite, and I don't get that vibrance I normally expect from hats and cymbals. The Odyssey 1 is still polite, but it doesn't sound quite as rolled off. As far as those perceived technical abilities go, I didn't find there to be much of a difference between these two IEMs beyond what you can see on a graph at a high level. The Odyssey 2 I find to have a little bit better imaging just because it sounds a little cleaner in that mid-bass region, while the Odyssey 1 has a bit better bass impact. Between the two then, I think I like the Odyssey 2 maybe about 5% more. I just think it does better if most of your library is more like rock and metal tracks, which, aren't super well recorded. But if your music is more like pop-like and cleaner, I think the Odyssey 1 will be better. You just get a bit more of that V-shaped fun to it. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't really have a strong opinion on either of these IEMs. I think they're both good, nothing crazy. The Odyssey 2 is maybe a little bit better of a safe blind buy, but I think both of these IEMs are already pretty safe recommendations to start with. So let me know in the comments below which way you do end up going. I'm pretty curious to know about your thought process.